the park, it's time to turn on the lights, because the Danbury Westerners are playing tonight. They'll be swinging their bats and they'll be hitting home runs. It's a night of excitement and family fun. Westy helps everybody cheer on the team as the crowd snacks on popcorn and delicious ice cream. On a warm summer night, you know it's always a treat. Westerners baseball soon the canopy beat. Everybody knows the score. The fans are screaming out for.
It was time of the program for our guest speaker, a very special one today. We've always been very fortunate to have outstanding individuals, but Ron Darling has done a tremendous job on the field, off the field as well with his charitable organization. When the Mets announced that they had traded Lee Mazzilli many moons ago, all the women in the Queensboro of New York cried for days. And then they saw Ron Darling. And they all said, Lee who? Ron Darling, Walt Terrell coming in, winning a bunch of games. Mets flipped Terrell into Hojo later on. The Mets can make good deals, okay? They have done so in the past. And Ron Darling is an excellent example of that. Now, he won a lot of ball games, got himself a ring, and became one of the top fielders at his position. There's no question of that. Every once in a while, he might have had an issue with walks. But my Aunt Rose in Glendale was convinced that Ron Darling only walked people so he could spend more time with her while she watched on TV. And if you think people that women did not have crushes on Ron Darling during his playing days, and most likely still today, I give you the TV show Law and Order, where I could never figure out why a character named, rest in peace, Jerry Orbach, played Lenny Briscoe. And every once in a while, Lenny Briscoe would just go, Ron Darling. And it was because you had to catch the episode where Lenny explained that his late daughter was infatuated with Ron Darling. So even in fiction, women love Ron Darling. But so did teammates, and players, and fans, because the man performed and performed. Today, he does a marvelous job in the booth, and I'm pleased to see that there's a long-term contract extension with TBS. So besides SNY, there's a lot of postseason baseball coming up for Ron Darling, and he'll be in the broadcast booth with Cal Ripken Jr., Ernie Johnson Jr., and Ron Darling Jr. So it could be the first time ever in Major League Baseball postseason play, 3 juniors in the majors at one time. And we congratulate him and wish him the best, and we look forward to hearing from him. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Regali, the man who was in the greatest game in college baseball history against Frankie V, Ron Darling.
That was a great introduction. I appreciate that. The only reason Lenny Briscoe would say that, I got to know the late Lenny Briscoe very well. So he would take characters of people he knew and put them in the program. So that's the reason I was on Law and Order. To everyone here, I want to say, Danbury, thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. I went to college in Connecticut, as you said. I love Connecticut. To Chris, congratulations. Think about it, your perfect game, your brother, the whole thing. The greatest game I ever pitched, I lost. So, you know, we're in the same boat, I think. To the Westerners, you do such a great service to these young guys. To let you guys know, 34 years ago, I stood where you stand. I played in a summer baseball league. I was introduced to people I didn't know. I was staying with a family that I didn't know. In fact, in those days, you know, there's all these different diets now. In those days, if you ate chicken, right, that's how you lost weight. The family I was with, we used to call them the Yardbird family because they ate chicken every single night. Even the dog had to eat chicken. So it was a funny summer. But 34 years ago, I stood in front of a crowd with my jersey on, and 2 years later, I was facing Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Mike Schmidt, first 3 hitters I ever faced in the big leagues. So it changed on the dime. Changed on the dime. I spent that whole summer, in fact, didn't pitch 1 inning. I was a player. I aspired to be Sean McGrath. I wanted to be a shortstop, lack of talent, moved me into a pitcher. But it was just, I always call it my last great summer. Because you get a chance, you're playing for fun, you're playing for the love of the game, and it's just a great experience. And I hope you enjoy your summer and have a great summer, all of you guys. I want to say to the 3 Met fans that are here. I had a strange experience. Most of my friends, close friends, were Yankee fans. But I speak to Met fans every night, and tonight hopefully the game will go off because your own Connecticut's own Matt Harvey is pitching tonight, and he makes watching Met games great on his day. The Yankee fans should be excited. I mean, they're treading water with until their guys get back, and they've had a brilliant start considering who's been playing for them. So that's great. There's got to be Red Sox fans here too, right?
Yeah.
I grew up behind Holy Cross College in Worcester, Mass, so I know about the Red Sox thing. I pitched against them in the World Series. That was tough enough. So I guess I'll open it up to some questions. So I'm sure there's some questions about what's happened this week. With the PEDs and all that kind of stuff, and maybe I can help you navigate through that jumble of information, most of it wrong. But I think that I have this belief. I think it probably speaks to the young men that are here. It really takes a village of folks to get you to the major leagues. Whether it's your mom driving you to games, whether it's your dad or mom coaching. My mom was a Little League coach. So there's a village of people that, people that give of their time, your brothers who help you along, your sisters that help you along. So, I think that what you people in Danbury are doing here with these young men, with the Westerners, is such a great thing. And I know it made a huge difference in my life to have a lot of people that you don't even know that push you along, that rate the field, that host kids, that go to the games. I know we've heard a few people talk about going to the games this summer. I know as a 19-year-old playing in that summer league that it was the greatest experience to see 500 or 1,000, whatever the number of people were there. People ask me all the time, how do you pitch in front of 50,000 people? Well, it starts with 5 in Little League. It starts with, the game I pitched in college, I think 350,000 people were there. There were only about 3,500. Because everyone says they were there. And then you get to the minor leagues and you play in front of 10,000, and the next thing you know, they have the extra tier in the stadium, and it's 50,000, you don't even think twice. So going to the games, pushing these kids along, rooting for them, really means a lot to them. So hopefully you'll be able to make it out there this summer. The question I get asked all the time when people come up to me and say, I'm a lifetime Mets fan. And my first thought is, I'm so sorry. But he asked a great question. 86 we won the World Championship. 87 we were close. Cardinals come in. I'm pitching that night. It's a Thursday night. I have a no-hitter for 6 innings. Vince Coleman bunts in the 7th. I dive to, someone said I was a good fielder, not this night. I dive for the ball, come up with it, try to shuffle it over to first base, and I realized that I fell on my thumb, and I didn't think it was any big deal. So I pitched a couple more innings, and after those 2 innings, my thumb is blown up, and the trainer says, you've broken your thumb. I said, wow. And in those days, they didn't have the X-rays at the ballpark, none of that stuff. So he said, you have to go to the X-ray at Roosevelt Hospital in New York. I said, okay, great, who's driving? He said, well, I think you're going to drive yourself. I said, okay, great. So as I'm leaving, I left, it was 4-0, it was 4-1, there were 2 on, Terry Pendleton came to the plate. And if the Mets had won that game, I think they would have pulled within 1. As I'm walking to the parking lot, which was in right center field, that's where I parked my car. And as I'm getting in my car, I hear a silence, and the silence in your home ballpark means something bad's happened. And I can hear the whiz of the baseball coming over the right center field wall. One pops, my car puts a dent in it. Turned out. It's a 3-run home run, they tied, end up winning the game. Probably the biggest loss that the Mets had at that time. And I never got that dent fixed. I wore it like a, I'm never going to forget that Terry Conley hit that ball. So it's up there with the social one. But for me personally, to have a no-hitter and then go just terribly wrong so quickly, it was heartbreaking. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. The question really concerned about the different thoughts about how many innings pitchers should pitch. Should they be shut down? Strasburg last year, they shut him down. The biggest game they had to play last year, he did not pitch in, which was the 7th game against the Cardinals. They lost that game. Different schools of thought. Tommy House, who worked with Nolan Ryan, although Nolan Ryan was pretty good before he got to Tommy House, and Mike Marshall, who pitched in 105 games for the Dodgers in the 70s, teaches kind of the biomechanics of throwing the baseball. I never said limit pitchers. I definitely don't believe that. In fact, Chris, in that game I pitched at Yale, 176 pitches I threw in that 12-inning game. So, and I pitched the next day, which should have any college coach fired, but that happens sometimes. But my thought about pitching is that I know that you're very aware and cognizant of taking care of your young people, trying to protect their arms, and I think that's really good, and you have to do it. But really the only way to get stronger as a pitcher is to throw. And you can run laps, you can do the Stairmaster, you can swim in the pool, you can do whatever you want to do, but unless you throw, you're not going to get stronger. And so my recommendation is that I think you should monitor it. But to work everyone in one program makes no sense to me. Think about it now. We just had a draft, right, today, for Major League Baseball. If Tom Seaver was coming out of college today, they would send him to A-ball. He would never be able to throw more than 30 pitches in one inning, never throw more than 75 pitches in a game. Then he'd be moved up, never be able to throw more than 105 pitches in a game. This is a guy who had 110 shutouts, completed almost 300 games, Hall of Fame, 15, 14 wins, or whatever. So, there's certain great athletes. I mean, we are taking these marathon people and only letting them run one lap. If you want to pitch, in the major leagues, you got to throw. And you got to throw often, you got to throw a lot. Monitor it, but you have to throw. What's that? Me too, but I don't want to watch that. You make a point. Part of it is development, because you get all these young men, and at some point, they're all the best. These guys at 6 years old were the best kids wherever they grew up. And then they're 10 years old, and they're still the best. And now at the 19, 20, 21, they're still the elite people who play this game. The problem is when you go to the major leagues, everyone is great. And the development of people comes at different stages, like the development of anyone in business. Some are rapidly ascending, some don't work so hard, and some fall by the wayside. I always think that Major League Baseball is the greatest scrum you'll ever see. I mean, it's people who are just climbing over each other to try to get to the major leagues. How do you teach them? Well, that's a good point. I think that today's game, and you guys are probably just starting to see some of that. Today's game has so many charts and computers and graphs to tell you when so-and-so throws this pitch, when you should, as a pitcher, throw that pitch instead of this pitch. And I think that sometimes it takes away just your natural rate, God-given ability. You practice. I think it's important to work on things, but when the game comes, you can just let it fly. Let that ability, that great ability you were given by your parents, just let it go. I think we have such double think in the game today. And what I mean by that is that a hitter's up. Let's say you're a Mets fan?
Yes.
Yeah. So Lucas Boone's up. Probably kills me. So he's up at the plate. He gets to 2-0. But somewhere, someone has told him from watching tape, watching stuff on his computer, that 2-0, this pitcher occasionally throws a breaking pitch. So he throws him a fastball down the middle. You're at home tearing your hair out, saying, how come you didn't swing at that? But all this information that some kids have been given, they can't process it. You know? I mean, I don't care if you went to Ivy League school or you're signed out of high school. You can't process all that information. Information is too much. What you need to do is look at it, store it, and then when you get out in the field, just compete. You know, let fly. And pitchers the same way. You know, if you're standing on the mound today and you're 1-0 on a hitter, guys are being told now, okay, it's 1-0, I'm behind him. I'm 1-0, he's hitting 472. I'm so afraid to throw the ball over the plate. You can't pitch like that. You know, you can't think like that. That's negative thinking. That's it's just not the way to think. You know, when I first started playing golf, I didn't play golf until after I retired, and I would play with my brothers who were lifelong golfers. And so when I first started playing with them, I got pretty good pretty fast. We'd get on the tee, and one of my brothers would go, boy, all those traps on the right. Another brother would go, boy, the lake on the left. I said, what are you guys talking about? He said, there's all that green grass in the middle. That's how athletes think. That's how elite athletes think. I don't trap, I'm not going to do that. Lake, no chance. Green grass. And that's how you got to think once you get on the field. Is that process all the information, aware of all the information, to let fly when the game starts. I think I'm the only person who didn't watch Shallow Hal. So the Shallow Hal movie, really quickly, the reason I did it is the Fairley brothers, of course, from Rhode Island. I've known them for a long time. So they asked me if I would do it. I said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, who's in the movie? He said, it's Jack Black, Gwyneth Paltrow. I said, great. My oldest son at the time loved Gwyneth Paltrow. So I said, I'll do it if my son can come with me, and we'll go to dinner and have dinner with Gwyneth Paltrow. So that's the reason I did it. Gwyneth Paltrow, so it worked out great. And to talk one quick about the TV, our broadcast team. Thank you for the kind words. It's really nice. But if they ever did a reality show, what happens in between innings, I'll have to check. You said Keith, once he won the batting title, he felt he belonged. Yeah, there's a different kind of mentality for athletes I played with on a professional level. You got the guy that's uber confident, that feels like he belongs from day one. You have the guys that are not confident, that are always kind of struggling to figure out where they belong. Everyone else fits in about the middle. The middle part is fear of failure. You know, when you get there, I talked about the village of folks that kind of get you there to the major leagues. You don't want to let anyone down. It's like, I want to be great, and I want to be good for all the people that help me along the way. Then you realize that really it's about, you know, just being happy and comfortable and great, just doing the best you can. When did I know? In '84 I won 12 games. '85 I won 16 games. My last win though, in '85, the Mets were down 3 games to the St. Louis Cardinals, again the Cardinals, right? Down 3 games to the Cardinals. I was facing John Tudor that night, who had finished second to Dwight Gooden in the Cy Young voting. He was 1-7 at one point and rattled off 20 in a row. Just an amazing year. So I faced him that night. We won 1-0. Strawberry hit a ball at the clock. And after the game, I came to the clubhouse, and Ray Knight, who was our third baseman, was in tears and gave me the biggest hug or whatever. But that's what it meant to him. Like, winning meant so much to him that it brought him to tears. And it was the first time that I'd been around a teammate like that. I was like, whoa, it's a great game, but I don't know about tears. But you know what? He was so passionate about it, and he made me passionate about it. And the next day I came to the ballpark, and Jay Horowitz, who was our public relations guy, said, the reporters want to speak to you. And in those days, the reporters only would speak to you the day before you pitched and the day you pitched. And I said, what do they want? And he said, well, you know, I come out of the dugout, there's about 150 reporters there. And I'm in the middle of them, and they're asking question after question after question. And I said, why do they want to speak to me? He said, well, that's your signature game. You've arrived. It's like, well, I thought I arrived last year, but okay. And it was after that that 2 things happened. One, it gave me the confidence to say, you know what, I'm pretty good. You know, I belong here. And then the second thing, which is, you know, going to sound strange probably to some of you, but I said, boy, I might be able to make a living at this. So that's kind of when it hit for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. I give it to them. I give it to I'm just telling you, you don't know what it means to run on the field and everyone's engaged and they're clapping for you, and occasionally you hear someone yelling, you know, yelling your name, and it means a lot. It really does. And they're going to have a whirlwind summer. I saw the schedule. Are you kidding me? I mean, you guys are just playing every day. You're traveling every day, and but it really gets you used to what it's like if you're fortunate enough to move on and play professional sport, professional baseball. That's what it's like. You know, you're on a bus. Last night I got here Danbury at 3:30, 3 o'clock, and that's just how it works. You know, that's your life. It's a great life though. That's your life. Well, I think that in anything that you do, whether we're watching, you know, you read the Wall Street Journal, there's some cheating there too. You know, there's cheating everywhere. What I will say though is that you know, there's honestly no shortcuts. When I stopped playing, really it was very rampant, you know, in that time. And you know, to see the names of the people that are associated with the PEDs and this biogenesis, I will say to you guys that are here today, there's a temptation. The temptation is always there for anything that brings a lot of money your way. I think baseball's done a great job. You know, in my day they tested for nothing, so they're doing a great job in trying to, you know, ferret out these folks that are cheating. There's always going to be people that cheat, just how it goes. But trying to stop it or hold it down as much as you can. But I think we also have to get back that, you know, we have young guys here that will start. The process is not about taking things to cheat. The process is about morally doing it the right way. You know, and at some point you're going to have to look your child, you're going to have to look your brother or sister, you're going to have to look someone in the eye. And wouldn't it be nice if you're able to say, you know what, maybe I could have had 200 wins, but I had 150 my way. And I think that's much better for everyone involved. And hopefully that it'll change. And I think, you know, we have 20 people that are on the list for the biogenesis. You know, the 600 baseball players. There's a lot of great ones that are doing it clean, doing it right, and we should admire them as much as admonishing the others. The Mets are pitching rich. It looks like they're going to be again. Matt Harvey is just, I would trade my baseball card, just throw it away, rip it up to have his career ahead of him. He's going to be something special. I played receiver when I first came up. They gave me great advice. It was interesting when you grew up in those days how you were treated as a young player. When I first came up, Tom Seaver came to my locker and threw down the New York Times crossword puzzle and said, "Hey, Rook, I want to see this done." I had never done one before, so luckily it was Monday. A few people did the Times, and by doing that, a week later, I'm in Chicago, and Seaver comes up and says, "Hey, we're going to dinner. You want to join us?" Well, yeah, of course. And then afterwards, they went to some place to hang out. And said, "You want to come?" I'm like, great. You know, it's he's my favorite. You know, and he taught me a lot of stuff. And the most important thing he taught me is that he said, once you become a major leaguer, because it goes back to your question about overanalyzing whatever happens. So once you're a major leaguer and you have major league talent, he said, when you are struggling, you're an inch away, not a mile away. And I think that works in life too, doesn't it? I think we overcomplicate things. And so he was my favorite. But there's been, I mean, I got the chart Dwight Gooden every night when he went 24-4 with a 1.58 ERA. He made major leaguers look like little leaguers, and he was 19. That was quite a year. Ed Lynch, who I played with, didn't have the best stuff, but he became a dear friend. He's the one that said that Dwight Gooden's curveball, what do they say? They call it Uncle Charlie. It's a baseball term for a good curveball. And he nicknamed Dwight Gooden's Lord Charles, because he said exactly that. But there's been so many. I mean, the pitching staff that I played with was Dwight Gooden, Bobby Abita, Sid Fernandez, David Cohn, Rick Aguilera, Randy Myers, keep going and going and going. And that's the staff I pitched on. I think Harvey and Parnell could pitch on our staff. That'd be it. Smith did. So it was, we had a lot of great pitchers. They don't tell us to stay away, but they certainly don't listen to us. I think I don't know. It's a very strange dichotomy. It's we're playing. You guys are dinosaurs. You do your thing in the booth. Kind of leave us alone as we find our way. So that's kind of it's a weird relationship. Like you think I'm not even talking about myself, but let's say you play first base. You got to go to Keith and ask him about something, right? I mean, come on, it makes sense. But it doesn't work that way. It's a very strange thing. It's I don't know why it works that way. Now, am I friendly with the players? I see the players every day. I wouldn't say I'm friendly because becoming friends might stop you from saying what you're supposed to say at some point. So I'm friendly, but I wouldn't say we're friends because my kids are the same age as these guys. So. It's a generational thing. I barely get my kids to talk to me. They'll text me. I think that we represent an innocence lost of simply getting on the field and playing baseball, competing, and they represent a highly charged, different kind of game of sabermetrics. And I never saw one game I pitched when I played. I mean, I never looked at, boy, I pitched great, boy, I hung a curveball. Never looked at one. Keith never looked at any tape of him hitting. He would call his dad. We represent that, and they represent a different. And I'm not saying that the way they do it today is bad, but there's got to be some place in the middle of getting information, but also playing, just enjoying playing. And I feel like we enjoyed it more. Even though, they make a lot of money, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on them, but we enjoyed it more, much more. I was extremely superstitious. My mom's Chinese, it's in the family, my family's how it goes. It was very funny. When Tiger Woods became what Tiger Woods is today, and on Sundays he used to wear his red jersey, he used to make me smile. Why did it make me smile? I had a really good friend of mine from Yale, and his mom was Asian. And before every first game of the year, she would send me a pair of red socks. Red is a color for success. And I remember I was pitching the opening day at Shea Stadium in '87, and the socks hadn't arrived. And I was in a panic. And it wasn't about the team I was facing, so I didn't have the red socks. But they showed up right before game time. So, every ball player I know, this stories of guys not changing their undershirts. There's some really funky stories. But almost all the ball players are superstitious because you're looking for any edge. You're looking for something that mentally feels as though I'm invincible today. So I think that's where it comes from. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.